Namaskar, I am Amod Vidhudi and I want to ask you something very uncomfortable. What if the world doesn't need another superpower? What if it needs something deeper? A stabilizing force, a moral compass, not dominance but direction. That's where India comes in. But not just as a GDP statistic, not just as a military or market force, as a constitutional conscience. Not by mimicking the West, not by reacting to China, but by doing something much harder, becoming ourselves. Rooted in something we have always had but forgotten to name, Dharma. This is the beginning of a journey, a series on constitutional Dharma, not as nostalgia, but as a strategy. And today, we start with a simple question. Why does the world need it? What is Dharma and what is not? Let's clear the air. Dharma is not religion, it's not morality, and it's definitely not some mythological nostalgia trip. Dharma is alignment. It is the principle that holds the cosmos, the community, and the conscience in balance. It asks, what is the right action here and now? What sustains order without oppression? What honors liberty without dissolving duty? In India, thought law was never enough. There had to be a moral spine beyond law. That was Dharma, and here, what's radical? Unlike Western law, Dharma was never obsessed with punishment. It was obsessed with restoration, with restoring harmony when things went off track. Now hold that thought, because the West has gone way off track. Western legal decay, a system eating itself. Look around. The West, once the torch bearer of law, liberty, and democratic institutions, is now a warning sign. Polarization has replaced politics. Constitutional courts are battlegrounds of ideology. In the US, one election can flip entire legal regimes. In Europe, free speech is now hostage to corporate terms of service. The very idea of objective justice is being dismantled, either by radical identity politics or by faceless market capture. This isn't theory, this is collapse. What happens when a system has rights but no responsibilities? When law becomes a transaction, not a vow. When liberty is reduced to individualism and morality outsourced to algorithms. You get decay wrapped in progress. That's why the world doesn't just need new treaties, stronger institutions, or digital regulation. It needs something civilizational. It needs a framework that doesn't just secure freedom, but knows what to do with it. India's constitutional framework, the missing link. Here's where India quietly holds a key. Let me read you the first line of our preamble. We, the people of India, in our Constituent Assembly, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. This wasn't just a legal document, it was a civilizational statement. We weren't copying and pasting modernity. We were saying we will be modern on our terms. Now look at what we built. Liberty, but grounded in culture, not consumerism. Equality, but aware of social complexity. Fraternity, not as nationalism, but Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Rights, yes, but duties too, a complete civic code. And the directive principles. An unapologetical dharmic vision for humane governance. This architecture has survived coups, wars, poverty, coalition chaos, and even emergency. Because it wasn't just clever, it was aligned. It had Dharma embedded in its DNA, even if we forgot to say it out loud. What India offers the world is not another model of domination. What it offers is a framework where justice isn't loud but lasting. Where power is restrained not just by checks and balances, but by inner balance. India at 100. Not a superpower, a civilizational anchor. So what does this mean for India at 100? It means stop chasing the wrong benchmarks. We don't need to become the next Silicon Valley or the next Pentagon. We need to become the first Dharmic republic that scales. By 2047, we must be the conscience in climate talks, grounded in Article 48A, the voice of balance in global lawfare, rooted in pluralism, the exporter of legal frameworks, civic codes, and conflict resolution models, the country where dissent is protected because Dharma respects complexity, the republic that teaches the world not how to dominate but how to govern with alignment. This is constitutional dharma, not a slogan, a civilizational software for a world on the edge. So, as we begin this journey, remember India doesn't need to rise by replacing anyone, it needs to rise by revealing itself, not as the next empire, but as the next example. We don't need more superpowers, we need anchors. We need dharma and we need it written in constitutional ink. This is India at 100. And this is just the first hearing. In the next episode, we trace dharma not as a mythology but as a legal memory. From the Sabha to the Supreme Court, from Ashoka to Ambedkar. Stay tuned and stay sovereign. See you in the next hearing. Thank you.